This week, Jonny Robot enters the mysterious asylum of Outlast. Are the scares as good as everyone says? We look at the brand new definitive edition of Tomb Raider and chat to Nicolas Cantin from Eidos Montreal about the upcoming reboot of classic stealth title Thief. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week Angry Birds has made it into the headlines once again with the announcement of a brand new spin-off. While mobile gamers may have been focusing their attention on another feathered trend recently, Rovio wants you to come back to an old favourite. Angry Birds Stella is a new franchise based on the pink bird you might have seen in both Angry Birds Seasons and Angry Birds Go. Her colour is not a coincidence. While the studio has avoided mentioning any gender specifics, the new brand is designed to promote inspiration, empowerment, and other real issues. On the other side of the coin, Capcom has announced that there will be no female playable characters in upcoming PS4 dungeon crawler Deep Down. It's not even a case of the developers being unable to correctly animate a female skeleton. The all-male playable cast will be paired with a sexy housekeeping AI similar to Cortana from Halo. Apparently, the reasoning will be explained as part of the game's story, but fans are yet to be convinced. And regardless of your thoughts on gender, fans are also upset over another Deep Down bombshell. There will only be 4 weapons available at launch: a spear, a sword and shield combo, and a greatsword, plus a 4th that hasn't yet been announced, potentially some sort of ranged weapon like a bow. Moving right along to another eagerly anticipated RPG, Pillars of Eternity, the new project from Obsidian Entertainment, formerly known as Project Eternity, has been given a rough launch window. There's nothing specific at this point, but the game should be in your hands by the end of 2014, all things going to plan. Happening sooner than that, Hatsune Miku Project Diva F is coming to both North America and Europe on PlayStation Vita in March. The Japanese rhythm game will feature cross-compatible DLC with the PS3 version and comes with an all-new set of trophies. No word as yet on an Australian or New Zealand release, but we'll keep you posted. One game that will not be getting a release anywhere soon, let alone down under, is the Wii U version of Watch Dogs, unceremoniously delayed by Ubisoft. Reportedly, it is still in development, but now it won't be arriving until the second half of the year at least. But getting back to the PlayStation Vita, there is a brand new model headed your way soon, the PC8 2000 series. It's roughly 20% slimmer and 15% lighter than the original, with a sleeker, more rounded design and a few extra hours of battery life. It's done away with the OLED screen, instead featuring a 5-inch HD liquid crystal display that promises the same deep, immersive gaming experience that you'd get from the original. The most exciting thing about this new Vita announcement wasn't the hardware though, it was a portable bombshell dropped by Gearbox Software, an edition of Borderlands 2 revamped and optimised for the pocket-sized device. Now, last week we looked at Evolve, which was one of the titles left out in the cold when THQ folded early last year. This week we have updates on both Darksiders and Red Faction, which were picked up by Nordic Games at an asset auction. We hadn't heard anything from either franchise since the purchase, but this has all changed with the announcement that both games are getting their own collection re-releases. Darksiders is being bundled with sequel Darksiders 2 and all of its DLC, due out on PC, PS3 and Xbox 360 as Darksiders Complete. The Red Faction collection contains Red Faction Guerrilla, Red Faction Armageddon and the Path of War DLC, but will only be headed to PS3 and PC, as Microsoft apparently found elements of the collection did not comply with the publisher's guidelines. To Steam now, and the Digital Distribution Network has introduced a new tagging system to help you find the games you're most interested in. It's been designed as a way of preventing smaller titles from slipping through the cracks, but in less than a week, Valve has already had to start scrutinising the system. At first, tags like Indie, Sandbox and Adventure were being used for games like Starbound. Simple enough, and gamers hoped that as more games were added, the more useful they'd become. Searching for Zombie would find games featuring the undead across all genres, that sort of thing. We particularly liked that Female Protagonist was an early popular addition. But inevitably, the more people got involved, the more unsavoury tags started popping up, with an influx of tags like Hipster Garbage, Walking Simulator and even Phil Fish Sucks. A new flag system was added to the tags. If you see something that's offensive or abusive, inappropriate, unhelpful or contains spoilers, there's now a simple downvote process. But that's not the only drama Valve has been dealing with this week, as a report came to light alleging that the company's anti-cheat system scans your internet history, collecting data about which websites you visited. VAC reportedly probes through your DNS database, a record of every website your computer has touched, but it's not fully known what it then does with the data. One theory suggests that it is sent back to Valve, who then cross-checks your database entries with a known blacklist of hack and cheat websites. If a match is found, your account could be banned without question. And finally this week, news on yet another big video game franchise who's headed to the big screen. Ubisoft and Sony have teamed up working on a film based on the Rabbids franchise. We don't yet know very much about the upcoming hybrid live-action animated project beyond the fact that it'll feature a whole bunch of these screaming, raving characters. But it's not the Rabbids' first video outing. Their animated Nickelodeon series, Rabbids Invasion, has been watched more than 165 million times in just the past 5 months. To keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
So you're watching an archetypical horror movie, okay? Imagine, if you will, the protagonists are looking at the spooky, doom-filled building, teetering on the precipice. Deciding a night of Malteser-fueled Bridget Jones's Diary binging would be a much smarter option than breaking and entering. Everyone's cool to leave. Then, that guy pipes up. That guy who utters the condemnable words, "What's the worst that could happen?" whilst kicking out the window with reckless abandon. Outlast casts you as that goddamn guy. With camcorder in hand and suicidal tenacity rationalized, you play as Miles Upshur, a reporter who's made it his mission to uncover the truth about some evil conglomerate for some unknown reason. I'm guessing a wicked slow news day. Oh, and the truth happens to be hidden in some sort of creepy old asylum. If that sounds like a straight-to-DVD premise, you would not be far off. The narrative in Outlast is trite, predictable, and about as compelling as a 13-year-old's grindhouse fanfiction. At no point did I know or care what Miles' motivation was, why people were chasing me, or why everyone I encountered's faces became failed Picasso imitations. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the game did either. But the plot's not a big deal when you have a crazy amazing atmosphere, right? Right? Well, Outlast kind of exists solely on this premise, and it does it in a really big way. Asylums by themselves are already uber creepy places. It's a fact, you can Google it. But it's what the team at Red Barrels did with this cliched setting that makes it really get in your head. Whether you're scurrying through abandoned offices, gurney-ridden corridors, or even questionably hygienic toilet stalls, Outlast maintains a densely foreboding and oppressive atmosphere. As you reluctantly wander around this gorgeously filthy environment, you'll find yourself frantically swinging the camera around to investigate every creak, bump, and whisper you swear you heard, since most areas hang with this unsettling silence. Miles' reactions to these sounds also massively elevate the tension, with his breathing becoming heavier and his hands trembling as he peers around corners, hoping to God that they'll be empty, much like your pants were before you started playing. Unfortunately, all of this organic tension is broken when Outlast decides to throw one of its many set pieces your way, which is accompanied by this generic "you better run really, really fast" mission. Since the score tends to start before you even see the scary thing, it never delivers on that true feeling of spontaneous fear. Your time playing Outlast mainly consists of you walking around, picking up strangely shiny documents, running and hiding from crazy people, and salvaging for light sources, which come in the form of the world's worst AA batteries. They drain faster than the ones in my childhood Game Gear did. If this sounds familiar, it's because it kinda is. Outlast is another one of those games that seems a little too inspired by Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Sure, it plays fine, and the controls are responsive, but it doesn't really add anything new other than the gimmick of using the night vision of your handycam for that really cool, low-budget horror feel, but ultimately just comes up feeling lacking. The game all but discourages exploration, pushing you down a rather linear path so it can do what it loves to do best: hit you with jump scares. Like seriously, jump scares are Outlast's best attempt at horror, which gets really old and predictable fast. Predictable is probably the best word to describe the rest of the gameplay in Outlast 2. Objectives consist of collect/push X amount of something to open a blocked path, with enemies attempting to ambush you on completion. The game makes no attempt to hide these ambushes, with obvious lockers to hide in, where they'll check every single one but the one you're in, or shiny cherry red bookcases to barricade the doors with. even if you do get jumped, the enemy AI will chase you for all of 10 seconds before getting bored and wandering off. About an hour in, I no longer felt threatened or scared by, well, anything, including the big dopey boss monsters. Instead of sneaking around, I slammed open just about every door and meandered around without a care in the world. Outlast ends up feeling like a real missed opportunity. If it had taken a more surreal Lynchian path, or gone for a psychological horror approach, it would have easily been one of the greatest horror games ever. Instead, Outlast comes off feeling like an interactive haunted house ride. You jump once, maybe twice, and then you're kind of over it and you start checking your Twitter to see if people are posting pictures of cats.
Our crew is scattered. We're hunted by the island's inhabitants. If I don't survive, none of us will.
This time last year, we were reintroduced to one of the most influential women in gaming. The 2013 rendition of Tomb Raider showed an all-new Lara Croft, who starts the game as a vulnerable young lady and emerges at the end as the experienced, clear-headed explorer we all know and love. A quick recap in case you missed it, Lara is obsessed with finding the lost kingdom of Yamatai, a mysterious island in the Dragon's Triangle off the coast of Japan. Lara has formed some theories about the kingdom, which was once ruled by the Sun Queen, Himiko. Her research has convinced the Nishimura family, possible descendants of the Yamatai people, to fund an expedition to discover the kingdom, and so a crew has set out on board the Endurance bound for the Dragon's Triangle. She's joined by celebrity archaeologist Dr. James Whitman, Royal Marine turned adventurer Conrad Roth, who is also a friend of Lara's father, mechanic Jocelyn Reyes, fisherman Jonah Mayava, electronics specialist Alex Weiss, Scottish boat captain Angus Grimaldi, and Sam Nishimura, a potential descendant of Himiko herself. Somewhat predictably, as the Endurance enters the waters of the Dragon's Triangle, a violent storm springs up and smashes the ship, leaving survivors scattered along the coastline. Inevitably, Lara is separated from the group, captured by a strange man, and forced to make her escape. Of course, that's where her adventure really begins, as this deserted island is quickly discovered to be anything but abandoned. Lara faces off against wild animals, a strange cult, supernatural demons, and her own clumsiness in her efforts to survive and escape the island where she has already been warned no one leaves.
We're all trapped here. This ends now! Kill her!
But that's all the same as it was last year. Let's look at what's new here. Obviously, Lara has been on the receiving end of one heck of a digital makeover, and that includes her accessories. Lara's pickaxe and weapons, even her signature relic necklace, now have their own physics and can swing freely as she moves. Her face model now has 5 times the density of last year's release, and her body has more polygons than ever before, giving her some more human-like dimensions. She doesn't look much like last year's Lara, but she does look more like Camilla Luddington, the UK actress who did the voice acting and motion capture for the role, so the change makes sense. Lara's skin also now features subsurface scattering. It's made up of 2 layers, basically. Underneath, she's actually quite shiny, but on top there's an additional surface that diffuses the reflected light. The end result, even when she's coated in blood and dirt, Miss Croft still looks luminous. Our heroine really is a superhuman. She can survive being dropped onto spikes, falling off ledges, being savaged by wolves, and of course being shot at by ruthless bad guys. And she does it all with perfect hair. This time around, her locks are even more luscious. Crystal Dynamics has added Tress FX technology that means each strand is individually animated. Most of the time, this leads to a gorgeous flowing ponytail, but it's not perfect. When Lara is hanging upside down, suspended by her feet, the hair around her face stayed in the same position it would be when she was upright. That one's maybe excusable, but it's a little more unnerving when you see that ponytail poking awkwardly through Lara's shoulder, thanks to some unfortunate clipping issues. Plenty of other things in the environment have been improved as well. Locations have been given more depth and detail. It isn't immediately obvious, but there is more to the world. Additional skulls in a sacrificial space, more wall paintings, a more decorated shack in a sandy town. The foliage is more detailed and the world feels more alive. There are at least 4 times as many more particle effects on screen at any given time, sometimes up to 15 times. These particles are dynamically lit, more object cast shadows in the world, and textures are now in glorious 4K. All of the cutscenes have been revamped with the new Lara Croft model, and while the other characters have not received the same makeovers, they are of better quality than they were last time.
She's coming! Take her out!
If you have already played last year's Tomb Raider, it's probably not worth picking this one up again. It is a fantastic experience and replaying it has been great fun, but it's exactly that, replaying something we finished 12 months ago. That said, if you somehow missed the Lara Croft bandwagon in 2013 and you need more games to play on your shiny new PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is perfect. Want to show off your gamer cred in a limited edition t-shirt? Thanks to the lovely folk at 2K and Turtle Rock, we have 3 of these Evolve shirts to give away to lucky Player Attack viewers. All you have to do is head to our website, hit the competitions page, and tell us that 5 are classes that you can play as in Evolve out this spring for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
The city is dying. A sickness spreads throughout the streets. A ruthless Baron rules with an iron fist, bent on achieving his twisted vision of progress at any cost. Yet as disease and suffering spread, so too does a fierce anger. This is a city on the brink of chaos, with no savior to be found. Because for the only one who can save us, not being found is what he does best.
Thief is a game where you play the role of Garrett, the master thief, who is caught up in a broken and corrupt city.
Hey, looks like he's waking up.
It's a new reinvention of the series, so it's a new story, it's a new character, but we've been really influenced by what was the previous game. So we respect all the main pillars, the DNA of what was a Thief game. It was really important for us to keep that aspect. It's a completely new story, so people who are gonna jump on a game will be really involved in it, because it's really not it's not a prequel either. It's really something new. It's a reinvention, but like I said, by respecting the main pillars, even the whole fans will really find a lot of homage to what was the previous game. But it's really a new reinvention of the Thief game.
A few guards, residents upstairs. Stealing the mask shouldn't be a problem.
There's no guns in Thief. You have a lot of choice. You can play as you want. If you be a more aggressive player, you can. If you want to be a more sneaky character, you can also. So it's really the player's choice to define how you're gonna be the master thief. Garrett already has a bow, and the bow was really part of the previous game. So it's something we bring back. We hamper it a lot. Garrett can do a lot of things with it, interact with the environment. He can shoot to guards. But again, it's really to the player's choice to how it's gonna use it. So it was really important for us to make sure that you have the choice to play either sneak or more aggressive.
Let's see now. Cousin, I half expect us to join the piles of St. Louis sloughing about and hurry uptown. Let us pray that it does not, for I have...
We'll make sure that we add a lot of feedback to the screen. Now with the new consoles, the world is really immersive. You have a lot of details in the environment, so it's easy to get lost. Plus we have a CD hub that is so huge that you can explore as you want at your pace. So it was really important for us to make sure that we have all those feedback on screen, but for the hardcore fan who really want to challenge themselves, we can get rid of all the HUD if you want. We have difficulty levels. each of those difficulty levels can be customized. So on that way, it's really, I think, something that will appeal to the hardcore fan. But also, if you are a newcomer to the series, I think I suggest you to play with everything on, and then if you want to challenge yourself, you can play with the customization.
These jewels are glass. Still, it'll fetch good coin from someone who doesn't know better. I'll see myself out.
For sure, what we wanted to do first was to give the same gameplay experience crossing all platforms. It was really important to don't disadvantage one to the other. But for sure, if you play the new consoles, you're going to have the shiny version. The graphic will be a little bit higher. We really pushed the limit to that, so it's really immersive. We have some new features linked with the controllers, like the light gem. On the PS4, you can see if you're in the light or in the shadow on your controller. Those kinds of little elements that add to the experience and to the immersion. On Xbox, it's really cool. You can, if you lean, you can choose to aim with your controller with the bow. So instead of just having the stick, you can use your controller. So it's again to the player's choice to do it or not. Garrett is a loner. Garrett is really a dark character, so we wanted to keep that spirit of what was a Thief game. But it doesn't mean that Thief is not competitive. We have challenge mode. You can compete with yourself. We have leaderboards where you can check your score and who will become the Master Thief.
Never know when I'll be invited to a ball.
I think with the new console, it's really something interesting. Stealth games are really immersive, so with the new console, we can really push the limit of the immersion. So this is one of the main elements. But also, I think that a lot of people were waiting for a new Thief. We saw the community. The community is still strong after 10 years. This is really great. So when you see that, I think it puts you in confidence to bring back a new Thief. For sure, we wanted to respect the pillars, like I say. So on that side, we respected the pillar, but it's really a new game. It's a hedgy game. It's a game of today, and it will appeal really to the newcomer. But it's all, I think we're gonna please also the hardcore fan.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, Mel takes us on a journey into the Elder Scrolls Online. We chat to Bethesda about Wolfenstein: The New Order, which is getting closer by the day, and Jonny celebrates frustration and strategy in Dark Souls 2. In the meantime, you can catch us on playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.